Hello and welcome to another You May or May Not Like It. I'm your host, Scott. You can find me on Twitter at XOrsonX, and I'm here with Mike. You can find on Twitter at Review and Roast. You can find all of our written reviews at reviewandroast.com and all of our podcasts at comicroast.com. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/reviewandroast and Instagram at instagram.com/reviewandroast. We also have instagram.com/Star Wars Tabletop for all you board game nerds out there who like Star Wars. We got a lot of X-Wing stuff up there, but there is some, Destiny and some Imperial Assault and some Rebellion, and we're going to get Armada up there pretty soon, and
Legion when it comes out.
Ooh, what?
That's basically Armada except for ground-based.
Interesting. Well, we still haven't played Armada, so we only owned it for 2 years. So
Watched plenty of videos.
Yeah, it's still new as far as we're concerned.
We like to feel we know how to play it, sort of. So,
yes. So
we do know how to play Mechs and Minions.
Yes, we do.
Mechs versus Minions. I always say Mechs and Minions
because I think you're kind of dumb.
I am.
But
everyone knows.
Yeah. So that's what we're here to discuss. This is going to be the first of at least 3 podcasts for Mechs vs. Minions. For those of you who are not aware, because this is not a game you can go to your local store and find. You can only get it off the interwebs. It is made by the people who make the video game League of Legends. It's, the minions are the same as they are in the game, but other than that, they're really don't share that many similarities with the video game. I first played this on International Board Game Day, I want to say last year, but I think it might have been 2 years at this point.
I think it was 2.
It's been quite a while because I thoroughly enjoyed it so much. I bought it myself, and at first I was like, I don't know, $80 that's a lot for a board game. But then when you physically see it,
nah, this game is the business.
It's
for
unreal.
$80, you're getting. I've paid a lot of money for a lot of games, and this game is one of those games where you get more everything you pay for and then some. There's, how many minions are there?
Well, you're going to put me on the spot
I'm putting you on the spot right away. There's got to be a hundo. There's got to be close to 100 minion figures. There's 4 mech figures that are the base game guys. There's 1 mega minion mech boss, bad guy dude that's gigantic.
Okay. What's inside the box? You have 5 mechs. You have the 4-player mechs, and then you have the boss mech, which is about 4 times the size of the regular mechs.
Yep.
Those are all pre-painted, ready to mosh out of the box. Out of the box, yes. You were correct. There are 100 minions.
Nice.
They are not painted, but they are not shitty plastic miniatures either. They're like,
yeah. If you look at them, they're like your semi-basic miniature, but they're already. I'd say they're finished.
Pre-detailed.
So, yeah, where normally you get a figure and, like if you're familiar with Imperial Assault or something like that, you get those figures, and they sort of almost have, like, the cast lines in them and stuff.
Yeah.
These ones do not. They're like I said, pre-finished, and then also it looks like they've been done with, like, a black wash of paint, which normally fills in the detail lines of anything. If anyone's that's familiar with painting any minis, like that's the final coat that gives it that brisk detail. That's what these all have. So they're all gray, but they've been black washed, which makes them detailed.
I feel like they're not just regular ass plastic either.
No, they're a pretty good quality.
I don't want to say pewter, but I don't
know nothing about resins and shit.
Yeah, they're extremely high quality.
Yeah, it's not your typical. I painted all the stuff from the Rebellion board game, and they're all just small. I'm going to say shitty, but they're not shitty. They're just small, basic plastic parts. It's a little baby Y-Wing. It's silly.
Right.
It's just a token, more or less. These are actual minis.
Right. So with that, you got the 5 mechs, the 100 minions. You get a bomb that you will use in some scenarios. You have 4 crystal shards, which are just little plastic discs, but they're again high quality. 1 gear tracker and 2 gear rings. The rings, they're metal. They're little gears, actual little gears. 4 rune coins, which at this point, I don't even remember what those look like. Oh, yeah, those are metal as well. Mm-hmm. Then you have 96 command cards.
Yeah, the room cords, that was the mission we just did with the shields, right?
2 missions ago.
2 missions ago, yep.
Yes. 96 command cards, 55 damage cards, 40 schematic cards, 5 map tiles. Now, those map tiles, you might be like, oh, there's only 5, but they're double-sided, and each scenario, you set them up in different ways. So
they can all be orientated differently.
Right, yeah. You got a school, which is basically an overlay for part of one of the map tiles. A color compass, which is just a cardboard piece. You know, it's about the same quality as the tiles, but it's just a little compass.
Yeah.
Command lines, which are basically what you would refer to in other games as
player
your tableau.
cards. Yeah.
It's your player area. So we'll get into that in a minute. Then you got 2 numbered dice, 2 rune dice, an hourglass, a rule book, tutorial, 10 missions, a final rewards envelope, and 5 game trays. Those game trays are what holds all the minions. And I mean, I have never seen a game so well packaged in my life. Like, it comes with a congratulations letter basically saying like, hey, you've been accepted into the school of whatever, whatever school that their mechs are going to, and the school that you're protecting in a lot of these scenarios. The boss comes in his own little box that's sealed. You're not supposed to open until you get to a mission where he's needed. The missions are each in a sealed envelope, and each one of those contains your mission guide or whatever, and also contains different cards. Like when I was rambling off there, all the cards, the schematic cards, like every character, there's 4 characters in the game you can choose from, and each character has a set of special, I guess you could say, ability cards. Like, everybody has a special ability on their command line that if you kill enough minions, you get access to it, but we've only gotten that far. We came close once. Mm-hmm. We never actually made it, I don't think. But the schematic cards are just like special abilities you get to use sooner than you would use your overdrive ability. And
we came close once, and we didn't really preface this, but we've only played the first 4 scenarios.
Right.
We beat all 4 of them, not all on the first try. And they get... Well, actually, the 4th one, I feel like we're getting the hang of the game, where I feel like the second scenario was kind of a ball buster. But once we got a hold of a strategy, we've been playing it 2 players, so I don't know if that makes it better or worse, to be honest. Because some of the things, every mission has different scenarios, so I'm assuming my point is that as we move on, we're going to get to that minion counter to where we need it to go.
Oh, yeah. Basically, for every 5 minions you kill, your level, quote-unquote, goes up by 1. So in order to get your overdrive ability, you got to get to level 15. So
right, and in order to open up other abilities that you predetermine before each match, you got to get them to different levels. Like, there's a couple characters only needed at level 2, some needed at level 8, and you can mix and match the cards as you move forward in the game. You gain additional abilities available to you, but you can only slot 2.
Right, correct.
So,
what I really... When I first played this game, we played, like I said, I played at International Board Game Day, and there were 3 of us, and we played the first mission, and we failed. And at the time, the gentleman who owned the game was telling me that, he's played it a few times with his girlfriend, and they've only gotten past the first mission. So, and when I played it at Board Game Day, it was pretty tough. And then after I bought it, I sat down here again with 3 people. We tried the first mission, and we failed. And by the time I had introduced Mike to the game, I feel like I had a pretty decent grasp on it. And the first mission, I think we did it in 1
or 2. The second one, I think, was the one that definitely took 2.
Oh, yeah. The second one, the first one was the bomb.
Oh, I think the bomb went off once.
Okay, so we failed the first mission, which is the 2
Or is that the one where you tow the bomb?
That's where you tow the bomb.
That's the first one?
Yeah.
Then that's the one we failed.
Well, there's a tutorial.
Because we did the tutorial, no prob. And then I
wasn't really going to include the tutorial.
Yeah, we went to the first mission, and even me being the tactical genius that I am, I was still getting my beak wet here. So,
which he's still doing.
Actually, I feel like I've mastered the game.
Well, here's the beauty of this game, and this is, I think, why I like it so much, because you don't get to decide what your mech does. At the beginning of every round, you draw 2 cards from, you depending on the cards you have, you put out at least 5 cards, sometimes more, and everybody draws till they have 2 or the 5 cards are gone.
Yeah, before you even get all the way, so the command, your player card is your command line, and that has 6 slots for commands.
Right, that's where I was headed.
Yeah, I know, but you're just talking about pulling cards before, so that's where we're placing them.
Right.
You have 6 options.
Yeah, it's not like you have a hand of cards, and okay, I'm going to use this to move here and use this to move here.
Yeah, you're not holding a deck and flopping them down boom.
Right, you
interrupt.
basically, once you select your cards, you look at your command deck, and you have to slot those cards in, like you said, 1 through 6. And then when your turn comes up, you run your command line. So you have to start 1, 2,
Right.
3. So whatever card you slotted, if you slotted something shittily, you're now stuck with that until the next round, where
we've ended some rounds with my mech facing the wrong direction.
Well, and that's the beauty, too.
Actually, where the mech turns the wrong direction, the second command, and then basically you have different fire options, and they all basically hit the wall because there's no minions in front of you. So,
Right.
yeah, that blows.
Yeah, you face the wrong way, and then you're just doing the Roomba into the fucking corner.
Basically, yeah.
Right,
Because you can't stomp off the board. You can't. There's some rules and regs associated, but for the most part, if your command line has you turn 90 and move 2, you got to do it.
Yeah.
Whether or not you wanted to stay straight and move 2, or turn 90 and move 1, or whatevs, you're out of luck. And if you wanted to shoot first and ask questions later, you might be shooting third, and that might be nobody in front of you.
Right.
So there's a lot of at first, I think that that's maybe where I flubbed my second game, was because right away you think you're an expert until you get stuck with 2 cards and you got 2 cards down, and you're like, shit, why did I take slot 2 and 3? I should have took 2 and 4, so I had room to put something in between, or vice versa. So it takes a minute, and it takes learning some of the cards, and then it takes a game plan. So, you and I have been sort of doing our own thing individually together. So, Scott's been the chain lightning guy, and I've been the cyclotron guy. And when you play the game, you'll know what the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah, there's not a ton of cards here in the game, but another beauty of it is there's 4 different elements in the game. Oh, and when you slot, let's say, an electric card, because it's just got the little lightning bolt on it, we'll call it lightning for the element. When you slot that, you can take another lightning card and place it on top up until you have 3 cards, and then as you do that, your abilities get better. So if a card says turn 90, you got to turn 90. You stack up on that. Now you can turn 90 or 180, and most of the time when you get that 3rd card, now you can face any direction.
Right, which is huge.
It's beyond huge. I mean, but a huge part of this game is knowing what the cards do, so I would definitely recommend going through and familiarizing yourself with the cards before you start playing.
Yeah, and honestly, run through the tutorial a bunch
of
times, because I actually wish we did that 2 or 3 more times, but I'm like, this is simple.
Yeah, we got
this. And then, you go in there and start flubbing around.
Yeah, and you really need to communicate with your teammates. You got to figure out before you start laying cards out, because that's where the timer comes in. Once those cards come out, you flip the timer, and if you guys don't all pick your cards when the time runs out, you just shuffle them and hand out whatever.
Right, and like you were saying, stacking those cards makes more levels, so to get a card to level 3 is very important for some people. So like I said, if you're going Cyclotron, or I'm going Cyclotron, you're going Chain Lightning, one of us is doing Ripsaw, and one of us is doing something else, those cards might be of the same color, but if there's 3 Cyclotrons out there, you might want to grab one, because you can put, let's just use that as an example, Chain Lightning and Cyclotron are both lightning elements. So if you went Chain Lightning, you have level 1 Chain Lightning. Then on your next round, you take a Cyclotron card, you put that on top of it. Now you have level 2 Cyclotron. But on your third round, you grab one more Chain Lightning, you put that on top of it. Now it's level 3 Chain Lightning. So as long as the elements line up, it's fine. Then if for some strange reason you wanted to throw that away, you can't just discard your command line, but you could take a blue elemented card and put that on top of the chain lightning, and that basically destroys the stack.
Yeah.
And now you just have a level 1 blue card of whatever nature it is.
Right.
Something like that.
Right. And now, another neat thing about this is the cards also have secondary abilities when you're pulling them. So, 2 of the elements will have a repair 1 damage if you, just toss it. Mm-hmm. And the other one will have, if you toss it, you can swap 2 undamaged commands on your command line, which we've had to do
later in the game.
Times.
Is huge because we'll pull 5 cards out there, and basically it's 5 cards that neither one of us want to use, because once you get that command line to 6, and say I'm using all blue and yellow, just say, and 3 cards come out that are green, 1's yellow, but I know you need it to get your chain lightning to 3. I don't want to put chain lightning to 3 because I'm not doing that. That's not my mission here. So you would pick one of those according to what else you need. So if I had a damaged slot on my command line, which we'll get into damage, I'm sure, in a minute, I could take that card knowing that I'm just going to discard it. But I also want to take that card only if I know that you don't need it either. So that's where communication helps too, because if you're grabbing a card just so you could swap 2 slots, and I'm like, dude, that was my level 3 whatevs, you just effed me up here. Mm-hmm. That's bad too, because now I can't turn my mech around because I can only make a left, or whatever.
Yeah, right.
So yeah.
So that generally will give you the basics of how the mechanics of the game work. So now we'll dive into the missions. So the first mission is called Short Fuse. Basically, the school that you're all attending to learn how to become mech pilots is under attack by a bunch of minions, and there's a bomb inside the school that you have to get out to, I forget the name of the platform, but there's little rune platforms or whatever out on the board, and you basically got to pull the bomb or push the bomb with your mech to the safe zone, and then you win the first mission. And all the while, so basically, you figure out who's the first player, and the initial draft is 10 cards. You each draw 2. The rest all get discarded. You slot your cards, and then the fun starts. So I would run my command line, figure out what happens. Mike would run his, see what happens. And then the minions get a turn after that. And what happens there is they all move up 1 space. They attack, and then they spawn, and then they attack. Mm-hmm. So this is where, if you're a diagonal is fine. You can be diagonal to a minion. But if you're adjacent, right in front of you, right behind you, or right next to you, they automatically do 1 damage to you. Now, what you would do then is you draw off the damage deck, and there's 2 types of damage cards. There's a damage card that say, do this, and then discard the card. Or there's the ones that do this. Now you got to roll the dice and see where that gets slotted on your command line.
And once you slot it on your command line, you have to do it on your next time you run your command line.
Yes.
So that command might just say turn 90 degrees towards the purple, or actually a lot of times it says roll the die.
Yeah.
So you'd roll the rune die, and whichever one that is, that rune compass would then, so if you rolled the red rune, you'd have to face your mech whichever direction the red is pointing on the compass on the table. Yeah. Which could be catastrophic, especially early when you don't have full command of which way you're going to face.
Yep.
And also, if that's slotted incorrectly, if that's slotted in your 1 slot, you're in trouble. Yeah. Because a lot of times you're trying to, normally the way we've been playing it is either you try to end exactly which way you want to be facing, or you try to make sure that your first line can put you which way you want to be facing, one or the other. Normally the latter is better, but sometimes you take what you can get when you're trying to make these boards up, because it sounds simple that you could just slot 6 cards and come up with a plan, but once you get rolling, you'll find out you messed up pretty bad about the 4th round. Almost every time you're like, shit.
Yeah. Well, and
I should have flipped this with that and put that over there, and I should have just And here's the best part: we've played this game. We've played 4 solid missions complete. We've played it more than that, and I don't think in the first round I've ever put anything in the 6th slot, which I don't know why. Why wouldn't I have?
I never do. I always go like 2 and 4.
Yeah,
or 3
I always
and 5.
do 2 and 3 or 2 and 4.
I never put it back to back.
Yeah, I've only done it back to back once because I thought I was slick, and that actually didn't work. But I've never put, why I don't just put the ripsaw on the very end. And ripsaw basically, just quick overview. Basically, whichever direction you're facing, when you get that to level 3, it does 3 damage in that whole row from front to end. So you want to be facing in an area where there are mechs. If there isn't... Minions, I'm sorry. If there isn't, you do no damage. You just shoot against a wall or shoot an empty row. So you don't want that... Well, I've had success with it being in my front line, but it's also failed. So either I put that on the first one or the 6th one or something. But a lot of times I've put it in the middle and been... botched up. You got to have some type of movement to get over a space or something, or turn your mech or what have you. It's super handy, but it's when you whiff with that, the minions pile up quick, for sure.
Right. Mm-hmm. So with the first mission, it's not as simple as you just pull the bomb out, because mechs cannot die. You can take a bunch of damage, and you can fill up your command line with damage cards all day. You just have to repair that damage. You know what I mean? You can't actually die, but the bomb...
Or you have to activate that damage. So it's
right.
It's totally fine if you don't want to fix it, but every 3rd command line spot, you have to turn left 90 blows. Yeah.
Well, if you had all 6 damage cards...
Well, yeah, if they're all 6 damage, you're not going to be doing much except for spinning in circles. Beep, boop, beep. You know what I'm saying? Fucking sprockets popping out.
Right. So, in the first mission, I believe it's 3 tiles long, and the tiles are fairly large. I believe they're 8 by 8 squares.
Yep. So
the minions start on the opposite end of the school, and they're heading towards you. You have to drag the bomb.
That one's T-shaped.
Is it? No. The next one is...
Oh, that's the one when they're trying to rush the school.
Yeah, that's the one we fucking sucked in. We'll get there.
Yeah, we lost that one. That's the one we lost.
But as you're trying to pull the bomb, they're coming up. The bomb only has 3 health.
So I think we lost the bomb one, and I think we lost the 3rd one then too.
Probably.
I think that's true.
Yeah, I think it is too. So
I know a minion got to the school, and I'm 90% sure that bomb blew up.
It probably did. Yeah, on the first one it did.
Yeah.
But, and that's where you got to figure out, do you want to spend a couple of rounds just beating up minions and then start pulling the bomb, or do you just want to start pulling it and hope for the best? Because minions will spawn every single round.
Well, and you didn't even get to this escalated quickly portion, because once you cross certain markers or get to certain milestones in each, which seems like each mission so far, it changes the parameters of how minions spawn, which can be detrimental. Like, it's not that... Oh, I think I'm still thinking of the 3rd one then, but...
The 2nd one.
But even this one, the Doom counter starts as soon as you start towing it, right? On the bomb?
The Doom counter only goes down when it takes damage.
The bomb?
Yeah. But I believe the second the bomb leaves the school, now the minions move 2 spaces.
Right,
I believe.
Something like that.
I'm not going to pull the game out and look it up, but every time there's 2 or 3 escalations per mission.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? And the first mission is the one where they're like, okay, this is the first mission where the timer, because in the tutorial you don't use the timer when you're drawing your cards.
Right.
But the timer comes into play. And when I played this at game day, when I played it with my brother and Jeff, and the first time I played it with Mike, that bomb got destroyed. You can play it on easy mode and give the bomb more health, but I don't like doing that, so we failed. And we tried again. We pulled ourselves up by our bootstraps.
That's how you do it.
And, we sat back, we thought about it a little bit, and we kind of killed it the second time.
Yeah, as stupid as it sounds and as simple as... honestly, the game is brilliantly simple.
Yeah.
But you need a plan.
Yeah.
Period. You go in there, and that's why I think we almost... Because Scott and I have debated this intensely. Man, if we had one more player, we think this would be easier. Or would it be dumber, to be honest? Because I don't know if we have the advantage of only having the 2 of us being on the same page, knowing what we're doing, than having somebody else that's like, fucking get me this card and let's go do some stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, and here's the thing, too. When you add more players, well, like I said earlier, you put out 5 cards and everyone draws 2. So if you have 3 players, someone's only getting 1 card.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the name of the game. is a card you can slot that will add another card or 2 or 3 to the mix. But if you don't have those slotted, someone's losing out on a card.
And there's value
turn.
to that card because that card's also a turn card,
Yeah.
so you can face your mech in a direction. So it's got a smidge of value to it, but when it comes to like taking out minions, I mean, you need to be able to face your mech in the right direction. But that's why a simple one like is it Skewer? Not Skewer. What's the other one?
Ripsaw.
No, what's the other one?
Blue?
Yep, the one that's just around it. Scythe?
Yep, Scythe.
Scythe is one where you can turn, and then you just do a damage to
one guy.
One range.
Yeah, one guy in one range.
Right. But that's a handy little... That's taking out the right mech at the right time once or twice.
Well, I've used it. Minion.
Minion. I keep calling him... Yeah,
And here's the thing. If, like, Ripsaw is the perfect example for this. If we're not coordinating and I'm in front of Mike and he does Ripsaw, it doesn't do any damage to me, but it also doesn't go through me.
Right.
So you kind of, you can't damage each other, but you definitely block damage from, from your partner trying to kill a minion. So anywho, that's basically the first mission. We're getting kind of winded here. Let's move on to the second mission. It's called Swift Scouts. This one is set up, like you said, in a T. You got the school tile,
right,
with 2 tiles next to it and 1 tile in front of it. Each one has a row of minions, and they're moving towards the school.
Oh, you know what? Just real quick. In most matches, I don't think it was that one in particular, but on all these squared maps, there's a bunch of rune stones, which in some of the missions, you roll the rune die, and whichever color pops up, that's where you spawn minions.
Right.
This one, they start basically in a full row in the back row.
Yes.
I don't think they spawned at all in the... Oh, no, I think they did spawn in there.
They spawned on the stones.
But I think you rolled for which stones? Or was that one all stones?
No, that was all.
There's a ton of variations, and honestly, this game has like room to... Like, we could legit battle each other for supremacy with squares. We could just make our own game up. I was thinking about that before too.
Yeah,
like we could literally like mosh and just keep track of who kills the most or something. Even
or when you buy yours, we can have 10 tiles.
Yeah, you don't want
200 minions. So the basics of the second one are each of the you have the school tile, the 2 on the side, the 1 in front. Each tile adjacent to the school tile has one of those crystals on it. And you have to pick up those crystals and bring them back to the school.
Yeah.
This one, every time you grab a crystal, immediately when you get it back to the school, the escalation starts. Or is it when you pick it up? I thought it was when you get it to the school.
One or the other.
Either way, it doesn't matter.
Either way, it was rough.
Basically, what happens is when the minions take their turn in this mission, they all move forward, and then you roll to see which one spawns, right? Mm-hmm. So... If you roll the color that's basically facing the school, sweet, nobody spawns. But if you roll whatever one you roll, you fill up the back row with minions. And after the first escalation, you fill up 2 rows. After the second escalation, you fill up 3 rows. And after the last escalation, they all spawn.
Right.
So it is when you pick up the crystal, not when you get it to the school.
Yeah.
So this one kind of got away from us pretty much immediately when we first tried it. We lost in, I think, 4 turns, or was it 3?
No, it was like 5 turns.
I don't think so.
We picked up a crystal. I mean,
we did, but the one minion, like you were saying,
the one minion in the one side,
if
just
you're
snuck
facing
by.
the wrong way and you can't swap out, if you get your lineup out.
Yeah, and we were calculating too. There was just nothing we could do. I thought I could get the one, and I couldn't get him.
Yeah, it's
stuck.
It's just you never know. You know what I mean? So when they start getting close, those are the guys you got to concentrate on. No matter how many are grouping up in the back, if one hits the school, you're done. So that one, we bombed pretty quickly, but we reset and kind of took a step back, took our time, destroyed shit before we started picking up crystals, and it got a lot easier. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it was a walk in the park, but
I feel like taking the first couple 2-3 rounds to thin the herd and build up a decent command line is the way to go so far.
Yeah. What kind of I don't want to say shocked me, but it kind of shocked me was after we beat that mission, we moved on. We kind of were just doing like one mission a week, just to kind of because we didn't want to beat it all in in a like 2-week period, and then be like, well, now what? We kind of want to enjoy the game, which we have been. So the third mission, called Tiny Evil, you pull the boss out, which I 100% did not expect.
No.
And the boss started with, what, like 13 health, 14 health?
Yep.
It was pretty high up there. And it was basically just 4 tiles made into a big square. Boom. Boss is right in the middle with minions on all sides.
We lost that one, too.
We definitely... I know we played it twice, but I feel like we weren't 100% sure that we maybe did everything correctly.
Yeah,
so
we played it twice. Yeah, we played it twice. I think we won the first one and played it again just to make sure. But we won the first one, I believe, by like the skin of our teeth.
Oh, absolutely.
And then we thought we might have done something wrong, if I recall.
Yeah.
So we played it again, and the second time we actually smashed.
Yeah.
But we knew... See, now the first time we played, I had no idea what kind of moves this dude was going to be pulling off. Like
Exactly.
He's shooting guns behind his back. I mean, he's got all kinds of tricks.
Well, why don't you discuss how the boss gets his own command line?
I don't remember that. Oh, he does have his own command line,
You don't remember that.
Yeah, he does have his own command line because I was actually the one running it.
Yeah.
Basically, he starts... So that one's the one that has 4 tiles together, and he starts with the 4 corners underneath him. So, right? That is right. And a lot of his moves that he accumulates through the rounds will be based on his line of sight and lines from him. So if he's whichever side of the map he's on could be bad, whichever row he's in could be bad, and basically every turn at the end of each round, I don't know which comes first, the chicken or the egg, but the minions spawn and do their moves, and then the mech boss gets his new command for the next round, and that starts basically in the first round. So his first round, his command deck is empty. It's got things though, and I don't remember what they were. It's like base abilities that actually aren't I don't believe any of them were even damaging unless you're adjacent to the mech boss, which is the same as any minion anyways. But once that moves past that, he gets abilities. You basically flip 2 of them over, and we get to pick one, and we put it on, and that's in his next command line. And his do the same thing as ours, where you have to put them somewhere, you have to slot them correctly, you have to double slot where you can, and they level up. And once those things get to the second level, they're pretty tough. When they get to the third level, you lose.
If he activates it.
If he gets to the activation point of it.
Which is where we ended up winning on the first time around, because we actually did slot that third card, but our turn is first. So we were able to kill him right before he was able to use it.
Yeah, otherwise he would have went to whatever.
Right. So like he was saying, okay, so our command lines are 6. His is only 4 because there's 1 for each element. Mm-hmm. So when you choose the card you're going to play, you have to slot it in that element. And I'm sure you've all heard the expression, the lesser of 2 evils. That is exactly what you're doing when you're picking these cards, because they are all fairly nasty.
Yeah.
So,
no, like I said, they really do.
And they escalate quickly.
They move him. Basically, he doesn't move... He moves wherever he needs to go, basically, based on that.
And he smashes minions in the process, too.
Yeah, he moves towards player 1, typically, if I believe. Yeah. And, like I said, some of his moves, basically, whichever way he's facing, draw a straight line through him, and then whichever way he's facing, he damages everything in that line of sight, basically. So... you want to be behind him, but if you're player 1, his move might turn him towards you anyways, so you might just be out of luck. Like, we took a lot of damage playing that one for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's got some moves that hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
Do some stuff.
Very much so.
Some of them were less than I thought they were going to be, and some of them were much more than I thought they were going to be. Yeah.
Like when his command comes up and he damages half the board. It's
right.
Like, holy shit.
And those damages do not damage minions. So
yeah,
that's only for the opposing mechs. If he runs over a minion, he takes it out of play. But if you're just you're just in trouble.
Yeah.
He was pretty tough, and he's pretty cool looking. I dig it.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's that.
Yeah, I don't know if there was very much as far as the way of spawning minions in this one, was it?
No, nothing.
I think it was
too
roll
crazy.
the rune die, and then you spawn them on that color.
On whichever color it was, yeah.
In that one, once you well, here's the actually thing that made it hard. You can't just sit back and hit him, because when you hit him, or when I forget exactly how it was, but you have to first hit, you unshield him.
All the runes, all the rune colors.
Oh, right.
You basically, one of us has to land on the rune. We take that coin off of that rune color. Then that's one of his shields down. Then somebody else can hit him, but then that coin goes immediately back on. So if I ended on yellow and you ended on blue, we would take off the yellow and the blue. The only problem being is that you really have to coordinate that. I sort of made it sound a lot easier than it is, because it was not.
It's actually
easy.
It's not.
It was easy the second time when we knew we had to do it, but when we first got into it, we were kind of bumbling about.
Let's clarify. It's not if you touch it; it's if you finish your turn on it, right?
Right. Yeah.
So you can run over one all day. That's not going to get rid
Right.
of it. You have to land on it you can't move off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Then the shield comes down. But there's also a card that will come up that will get slotted that resets all of his shields every turn. So
Yep.
you need to do as much damage as you can on your turn, especially once that card comes out. So it's
Right, but you can only do 1 damage per color.
Yeah.
And then that shield goes back. And per color doesn't sound like it matters, but it does, because basically you don't know what color. Well, you need to know what color you're going to land on next turn that you're going to deactivate. So if Scott calls out, so say there's yellow and blue open, Scott calls out, I'm damaging yellow. And then he does that, and on the next turn, I can land on a blue one. That doesn't add an extra shield. He's just still got the same shield down, so that sucks.
Right.
If he'd have called blue, he would have damaged blue, put the blue shield back up. Now I land on the blue, take the blue back off, and I can hit him blue, and then I can hit him yellow. So I'd be able to do 2, let's just say. And Scott would have already done 1.
something like that.
Yeah. So there's strategy to that, and that's why I think the second time around we moshed. Because we
were
sort of
definitely
had
more prepared,
yeah, we sort of had the, all right, you hop on this, I'll hop on that, bink, 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 done.
I think that was an exact conversation.
It's pretty. Actually, it was pretty close. So yeah, I dig it.
And then the final, I don't want to say final mission, but the fourth mission is the last one that we've actually played so far. And like I said, there are 10 actual missions in the game.
Yeah, this is our 30% through the game podcast.
Yeah, pretty much. So the fourth mission is called Hammer Keeper. And this one, it's just 3 tiles in a line. Minions are running at you. You're running at them. You got to make it to the end of the board before any of them make it to the end of your board. But every time you get onto a new tile, like initially they move 2 spaces. Mm-hmm. You get to that second tile, they move 3 spaces. You get to that third tile, they move 4 spaces. Right?
Or it's 1, 2, 3.
It's one or the other.
Might be 1, 2, 3.
But there's a lot of oil slicks. Now we never talked about oil slicks, but when you land on an oil slick as a minion, you slide to the end. Mm-hmm. And then continue your movement. So if you're moving 3 and you go 1 onto an oil slick, you slide up to the next spot that doesn't have oil.
Right.
Then you go 2, 3, 4.
Right.
So there's a lot of oil in this one, and there's a lot of movement. So you really need.
Well, there's a lot of oil on their side to get them.
Yeah. So you really got to kind of mosh and not leave that first tile for a minute. That's what we. That's how we beat it. I mean, obviously.
And that was when we planned ahead of time. We sort of. Not that it was that much strategic planning, but we came up with a plan before we even started picking cards.
You know what?
And it worked, actually.
This is where it got a little hairy because the first 5, 6 rounds, I was taking a lot of damage cards.
Oh, yeah.
I don't mean like I was taking damage. I mean, I was taking, cards to damage the minions. I wasn't taking a lot of move cards. So now, by the time he's ready to make a run for it to the end of the board, I had like no move.
Yeah, I was basically still on our square, and at any turn, I could basically had enough movement. And normally in the games previous, you're the one that's hopping all over the place, and I'm normally just like one move left and right, and I'm just doing damage with mine. So it was kind of a role reversal. But I was planning out that final push because you could run right over a minion, so it wouldn't matter. All we had to do was get to the end.
Right. So shortly thereafter, we made it to the second square, which escalated things. But then I, picked up a couple of neat cards, and if you have a full move, you can move up to 6 spaces, and then on top of that, if you have a full Omni Stomp, you can move 3 more spaces, and then you have a couple of skewers on there, you can move another 2 or 3 spaces.
Right.
So I was like, you know what, dude, let's just make a run for it because we can both make it.
Well,
to
and
the
see,
end.
and see, that's one that I think we benefited by having just 2 players because the whole reason I crossed into the second board was because I couldn't stop from moving forward anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I had to take a movement card at some point in time, and when you have a fully leveled move card, you move 3 to 6 spaces. You have to.
Yeah.
So if I'm facing forward, which sometimes I think that's what happened. I think I got stuck. I had to face forward to take out the minions. Otherwise, they're going to be crossing the board. So I had to move forward 3 at a minimum, and that put me 1 over the line. And that escalated the minions to start moving faster. And then, oh, shit, we got to go. So, but we actually smashed that one, really. But I'm interested to keep going, and I anticipate them getting a little bit harder. Not that they haven't been challenging, but they haven't been, once you get it down, I feel like it's been challenging, I guess is the best way to put it. I'd be interested to see how the next missions play out, what they have planned, what the mission will be, because the scenarios are all different. So far they've been actually pretty fun. And we'll see what happens.
So
That's all I got.
I just want to point out that obviously I'm reading a lot of the stuff off the website as far as like what's in the box and all this other what's in the box. And I'm looking here and announcing weekly mind melters for advanced mechanics. Mech-annex. Get it?
Mm-hmm.
So after you finish all the missions in the box, they lay out a bunch of missions
Oh, so there's like scenarios up on
the site. And they all seem to be one-player missions where you just gotta. They basically tell you this is the tile, this is how it's set up, this is you can choose where to start wherever you want, but we suggest you start here, and these are the available cards for you. So, I believe I have the first edition of the game. I know they were reprinting it, and they were making not adjustments to the rules, just clarifications to some of the rules and whatnot for the version 2 or whatever. But I love the fact that now I know I can hop on the website after Mike and I smash this, and I can
do some stuff.
Yeah, I can pop on here, and they've got more missions online. I haven't looked at them all, but they all use your character so far.
Oh, yeah?
So that's neat. That's another thing we have been doing. There's four mechs you could choose from.
Well, we said we're going to switch it up, so we'll see what happens.
I thought we were going to switch it up after we beat the game.
No, I thought we were going to switch it for the next 4.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because you were going to take Moustache, and I was going to take the Lunatic. That rides the bomb.
We can do that. Well, either way. It's one of the best quality games I have ever played, I've ever laid my hands on, and it is one of the most unique and fun games, and I truly believe you cannot go wrong with it. That being said,
yeah, and it seems to have one of those quality of gameplay that is, I don't want to say this is a children's game, but this is an easy game I think you can get a slightly younger player into.
Oh, yeah.
This is not like some heavy... I mean, it can take a while to play the game, and it's involved in laying it out, but the cards are very simple. The actions are very simple. How you do things is semi-simple. With the exception of the scenarios and laying out the minions, which can sometimes get a little confusing because shit's coming from all angles. I think you could get, I don't want to say a really young player in, but it could be, early teens easily. A 10-year-old could probably play this game.
Yeah.
I mean, with supervision, but yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, it might change after a couple of scenarios, and it might change later, but as it stands, missions 1 through 4, I am giving this a solid 9. I would probably go higher, but I don't want you to cry. Man. It's just super unique, and I love that about it.
Yeah, I don't really like that much. I'm going to give it a 5.
All right, 5 it is.
No, actually, I am. Honestly,
It's hard to find something you can't like because a lot of times you can be like the
no,
gameplay's awesome.
there's nothing I don't like
but the
about it
pieces
other than
suck,
that I
you know
don't
what I
own
mean?
it.
Right.
So, I kind of want to give it a 9. I sort of want to give it an 8.5, but
Go 8.7.
I feel like if I owned the game and I painted the minis, I feel like I would give it a 9 all day. So, I'm going to give it a 9 in anticipation of that.
Well, there you have it.
And now when we do 5, 6, 7, 8, I might hate this game.
Yeah,
So.
who knows? The missions might start to fall apart. I doubt it, but you never know.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows? Maybe we can get some other people to come over and stupid play this. Cause
Probably not.
Jeff claims to love the game. He yet has to come over and play it. My brother claims to love the game, but he's been pretty MIA for the last 7 or 8 months anyway. I'm sure you've all noticed. Nailed it.
Or not. Too soon?
I didn't get it, but either way. Anywho, you can find me on the Twittens at XOrsonX. You can find Mike at Review and Roast. You can find all of our written reviews at reviewandroast.com and all of our podcasts at comicroast.com. Check out our Facebook at facebook.com/reviewandroast. And search out Mechs vs. Minions /League of Legends. You'll find it online. It's pretty easy to find. It is well worth the money. Feel you should check it out. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. So have a good week.
That's all I got.